Governor Elaine Maris stared at the holographic display of her beleaguered colony, New Terra. Each flashing red dot marked another Vargoth attack, another day of despair. The office was dimly lit, mirroring the grim mood that had settled over the colony. "Governor, we've lost contact with the eastern settlements," reported her aide, Lieutenant Corbin, his voice heavy with defeat. Elaine rubbed her temples, feeling the weight of each decision. "Prepare an evacuation for the surrounding areas. We can't let the Vargoths take more lives." As Corbin nodded and turned to relay orders, Elaine turned to her communications officer. "Start a broadcast to all channels. It's time we sought help beyond our borders." The officer adjusted the settings, and soon Elaine's image was cast across the galaxy, her voice steady but urgent. "This is Governor Elaine Maris of the colony New Terra. We are under attack by the Vargoth forces. We have suffered great losses and now seek assistance from any mercenary or military forces. We offer whatever we can in return for your aid." The message sent, they waited. The silence of the command center a stark contrast to the chaos outside. Days passed with no response, the situation growing more dire. Just as hope seemed to wane, a new signal beeped on their communication panel. Lieutenant Corbin perked up. "Governor, we're receiving a transmission. It's encrypted, military grade." Elaine leaned forward. "Put it through." The screen flickered, and a rugged figure appeared, dressed in the dark uniform of a mercenary. His presence commanded attention, his voice confident. "Governor Maris, I'm Captain Jonas Hale of the Shadow Mercenaries. We received your call for aid. My team is ready to assist." Elaine's relief was palpable. "Captain Hale, your help comes in our darkest hour. Can you break through the Vargoth blockade?" Jonas's smile was grim, but reassuring. "We specialize in difficult situations. We'll be on New Terra within 24 hours. True to his word, Jonas and his team arrived discreetly on New Terra, their ships evading detection through advanced cloaking technology. Elaine greeted them personally at a secure military outpost, hidden in the dense forests away from major settlements. "Welcome to New Terra, Captain. I wish it were under better circumstances," Elaine said as she shook his hand. "Thank you, Governor. Let's get straight to business. My team needs to understand what we're up against," Jonas replied, his gaze scanning the horizon. In the strategic command room, maps and enemy positions were laid out. Jonas and his second-in-command, Lieutenant Maya Soren, studied the information intently. Jonas pointed at several key locations. "Your defenses are concentrated here and here. The Vargoths exploit these gaps," he noted, his finger tracing the vulnerable peripheries. Elaine nodded, appreciating his quick grasp of their predicament. "Exactly. We've been unable to reinforce those areas without weakening our central defenses. We'll conduct reconnaissance tonight. Understanding their movements and technology will give us an edge." Maya interjected, her voice firm and authoritative. As the meeting concluded, Jonas turned to Elaine. "We'll start our operations immediately. My team is efficient, and will do whatever it takes to protect New Terra." Elaine felt a spark of hope as she watched the mercenaries prepare. For the first time in weeks, she believed that they might just survive this onslaught. With the Shadow Mercenaries on their side, New Terra wasn't alone anymore. The stealth ships of the Shadow Mercenaries sliced through the early morning mist, their hulls reflecting the dim light of New Terra's twin moons. Captain Jonas Hale stood at the helm, his eyes fixed on the readouts, while his team prepared for landing in the dense forest canopy designated as their covert base of operations. "Visibility's low. Turbulence from the upper atmosphere is stronger than predicted," remarked Pilot Nash, his hands steady on the controls. Jonas nodded without taking his eyes off the forward screen. "Keep her steady, Nash. We can't afford a misstep now." The ship descended silently, the cloaking technology masking their arrival from the Vargoth sensors. Once landed, the mercenaries quickly disembarked, unloading gear with practiced efficiency. Jonas turned to his team, assembled in the shadow of the towering trees. "All right, team, this is it. Our mission is to support the colony's defenses and push back the Vargoth forces. We'll start with recon missions to identify their key assets and vulnerabilities. Maya, take point on setting up our forward ops base. Nash, run a systems check and ensure our cloaking remains operational. We can't let them spot us." Lieutenant Maya Soren nodded, her expression focused. "On it, Captain. I'll also set up the communication scramblers to keep our transmissions secure." As the team set to work, Governor Elaine Maris arrived at the makeshift base, escorted by her aide. Jonas greeted her with a nod, and they walked together toward a temporary command setup, where digital maps and satellite images flickered on portable screens. "Captain Hale, I can't tell you how grateful we are for your intervention, Elaine began, her voice betraying her fatigue. The Vargoths have advanced technology we haven't been able to crack. Without your help, I don't like our chances. Jonas glanced at the satellite feeds, analyzing the enemy formations. Governor, my team is one of the best. We're going to do more than just crack their tech. We're going to turn it against them. First, we need a complete picture of their deployments and patrol routes. Elaine pointed to a series of blips on the map. Here and here are their strongest concentrations. They've been using these bases to launch attacks on our settlements. Jonas studied the locations, then turned to his communications officer. Hicks, I need you to intercept any transmissions from these bases. Look for anything that can tell us about their command structure or upcoming operations. Yes, sir, Hicks replied, adjusting his equipment. Jonas continued. Our first priority is to disrupt their operations, create confusion in their ranks. Once we have that, we can start planning our counterattacks. Governor, do your forces have any intel on the origins of their tech? Elaine shook her head. Not much. We know they've been harvesting resources from the outer sectors, possibly to fuel their machines. But that's about it. Jonas mulled this over. Okay, we'll start with the resource points. Cutting off their supply lines could weaken them significantly. As the planning session drew to a close, Jonas offered Elaine a reassuring look. We're going to get through this, Governor. My team has faced tough odds before. Stick with our plan, and you'll see the Vargoths retreat. Elaine managed a small smile, her spirits lifted slightly. Thank you, Captain. For the first time in a long time, I believe that might just be possible. With the base operational and the initial strategies laid out, Jonas and his team were ready to delve deeper into enemy territory. The Shadow Mercenaries had arrived, and their presence promised a glimmer of hope to the beleaguered colony. Night had fallen over New Terra, casting the landscape into a tapestry of shadows and moonlight. Captain Jonas Hale and Lieutenant Maya Soren geared up for their first reconnaissance mission into enemy territory. The air was thick with tension, the importance of their task weighing heavily on them. Check your gear, Maya. Invisibility cloaks, energy blades, everything. We can't afford any malfunctions tonight, Jonas instructed as they loaded their equipment into the stealth hovercraft. Maya double-checked her weapons, her face set in a determined grimace. Everything's operational, Captain. Let's get this intel and give these Vargoths something to worry about. The hovercraft lifted silently, gliding through the darkened forests toward the enemy encampment. As they neared the target, Jonas reduced their altitude, bringing them in just above the treetops. Deploy the drone, Maya. Let's see what we're dealing with, Jonas said, his eyes focused on the thermal imaging display. Maya released a small reconnaissance drone from the hovercraft. It darted ahead, invisible to the naked eye, its cameras feeding live images back to their screens. The drone revealed a large Vargoth camp, bustling with alien soldiers and bristling with advanced weaponry. There, the energy shield generator. Maya pointed out a large structure emitting a pulsating light. That's what's been keeping our attacks at bay. Jonas studied the layout. We need a closer look. I'll take the ground. Keep the craft cloaked and on standby. With practiced stealth, Jonas disembarked, blending into the shadows as he moved closer to the encampment. The invisibility cloak rendered him nearly imperceptible, a ghost among the alien patrols. As he neared the shield generator, he noticed its design was oddly familiar. Maya, this tech, it's based on human engineering, modified extensively. They must have captured some of our scientists or their work, he whispered into his comm. That's a troubling development, Maya replied, her voice steady in his ear. Can you plant the scanner? We need detailed schematics. Jonas deployed a miniature scanner near the generator, which quickly began transmitting detailed data back to their ship. As he retrieved the device, a sudden noise alerted a nearby Vargoth guard. Jonas froze, blending into the darkness as the alien scanned the area. After a tense moment, the guard moved on, and Jonas made his way back to the rendezvous point. Once aboard the hovercraft, they sped away, the mission a success. Back at base, Jonas and Maya analyzed the data with their team. Look here, the generator's core is a modified version of our phase shield technology. If we can disrupt the modulation frequency, we could take it down without a direct assault, Jonas explained to his team. Governor Maris joined them, her expression anxious. Do you think it's possible to disable it? Jonas nodded. It's more than possible, Governor. With this intel, we can not only disable it, but potentially turn the tide of this conflict. We'll need to prepare carefully, though. They won't leave such a vulnerability unguarded. As they set to work devising a plan, the mood among the team shifted from defensive to cautiously offensive. They had a target, a mission, and thanks to their successful intel gathering, a real shot at weakening the Vargoth stronghold. The next morning, under a pale dawn sky, Captain Jonas Hale sat at a makeshift command table strewn with maps and digital devices. Beside him, Lieutenant Maya Soren organized communication channels to ensure secure lines for what would be delicate negotiations. Jonas looked up as Governor Elaine Maris approached. "Governor, for our next move, we need to bring more firepower into this fight. I'm reaching out to potential allies from other civilizations. Their unique capabilities could be crucial." Elaine nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "Who do you have in mind?" "The Zalorians and the Iridians," Jonas responded, pulling up profiles on his screen. "The Zalorians are skilled in underwater and amphibious operations, and the Iridians have advanced energy weapons that could penetrate the Vargoth shields." "But they have old grievances against each other, don't they?" Maya interjected, her tone cautious. "Yes, but they have a common enemy in the Vargoths. I believe the immediate threat will unify them," Jonas explained, initiating contact via his communicator. The screen flickered to life, revealing a Zalorian commander, her scales shimmering with the hues of deep sea. "Captain Hale, this is an unexpected honor. What does humanity seek from Zaloria?" Jonas was direct. "Commander, New Terra is under siege by the Vargoths. We have a plan to counterattack but require your unique talents. Join us, and we can ensure the Vargoths pose no threat to your waters either." The Zalorian was silent for a moment, her eyes reflecting a strategic mind at work. "And the Iridians. Will they too be part of this alliance?" "They will, if I can persuade them next," Jonas replied. "We hope you will all see the advantage of cooperation against a common foe." "Very well, Captain Hale. Zaloria will join your coalition. But we do so for our mutual benefit," the commander agreed, nodding sharply before the communication ended. Next, Jonas connected with the Iridian representative, a tall figure surrounded by a faint glow of energy. "Ambassador, I am Captain Jonas Hale. We have a situation that might interest you." The Iridian's voice was cool, measured. "Captain, the Iridians do not forget past slights easily. Why should we fight alongside those who have opposed us?" Jonas leaned forward, his voice earnest. "Because the Vargoths threaten us all, Ambassador. They're using human-derived technology to overpower us. We've gathered the Zalorians and other races under a single banner to stand against them. Join us and turn old enemies into new allies." The Iridian paused, his eyes narrowing slightly. "If the Zalorians can set aside past conflicts, so can we. You have our weapons and our warriors, Captain." With the alliance tentatively in place, Jonas convened a meeting with all parties involved. The holographic table showed the faces of various alien leaders, each prepared to lay old rivalries to rest for the greater good. "As of today, we fight together," Jonas declared, his voice resonant in the chamber. "We will coordinate a joint strike on the Vargoth shield generator. Success depends on each of us playing our part." The representatives exchanged nods, the screen alive with the new energy of forged alliances. Turning to Elaine and Maya, Jonas's expression was one of cautious optimism. "It's a fragile alliance, but it's what we need. Let's get to work on integrating our strategies and resources." As the planning session extended into the evening, the base buzzed with activity. Tactical simulations, weapon calibrations, and operational briefings filled the halls. United by a common cause, the once unlikely allies prepared to face their formidable enemy together. Under the cloak of darkness, the newly formed alliance prepared for a decisive strike against the Vargoth shield generator. The air was charged with a mix of anticipation and resolve as Captain Jonas Hale and his diverse team reviewed the final details of their plan. "All right, everyone, this is it," Jonas began, his voice steady as he addressed the mixed group of human, Zalorian, and Iridian forces. "The Zalorians will initiate a diversionary attack from the west, using their aquatic capabilities to approach undetected. Meanwhile, the Iridians will focus on disabling any aerial surveillance with their energy weapons." Lieutenant Maya Soren, standing beside a digital map, pointed to their primary target. "Once their external defenses are engaged, our ground teams will infiltrate here." She indicated a heavily fortified structure on the outskirts of the Vargoth base. "That's where we take down the shield generator." Governor Elaine Maris watched the preparations, her expression one of guarded hope. "Your coordination is impressive, Captain. New Terra owes you a great debt." Jonas nodded, his focus sharp. "We'll celebrate when we've won, Governor. For now, let's ensure everyone knows their role." As the operations commenced, Zalorian divers emerged silently from the depths of a nearby lake, their movements barely causing a ripple. At the same time, Iridian sharpshooters took positions, their advanced rifles humming softly as they charged. Jonas and a select team of shadow mercenaries, including Maya, geared up for the main assault. Each member carried specialized equipment to breach the generator's defenses, a mix of high explosive charges and electromagnetic pulse grenades. The first sign of success came when a series of explosions lit up the night sky to the west. The Zalorians had engaged, drawing away much of the Vargoth defensive force. Almost simultaneously, the buzz of disrupted electronics signaled the Iridians' success in taking down the surveillance drones. "Now!" Jonas signaled his team, and they surged forward, using the chaos as cover. They encountered scattered resistance, disoriented Vargoth guards trying to respond to the multifaceted assault. The mercenaries made short work of them, moving with lethal efficiency toward their objective. Reaching the shield generator, Jonas set up the pulse grenades. "Maya, get the charges ready. We have minutes before they regroup and counterattack." Maya worked quickly, attaching the charges to critical points she had memorized from the schematics. "Charges set, Jonas. Ready on your command." Jonas checked the perimeter, then nodded. "Detonate on my mark. Now!" The explosion was a brilliant flash of light and energy, followed by a deep rumble as the generator's core systems failed. The shield flickered and died, exposing the entire Vargoth base to their full offensive capabilities. "Shield is down. All units move in for full assault." Jonas's voice rang out over the comms, directing the Allied forces to converge on the now vulnerable enemy. As they regrouped, Jonas turned to Maya, clapping her on the shoulder with a grin. "Well executed, Lieutenant. Let's finish this." Together, the Alliance pushed forward, their momentum unstoppable. The Vargoths, caught off guard and significantly weakened, scrambled to mount a defense. But without their technological advantage, they were quickly overwhelmed. By dawn, the sounds of battle faded, replaced by the cautious cheers of victorious soldiers. Jonas stood atop the ruined generator, looking out over the battlefield. The first light of morning illuminated a turning point for New Terra, thanks to an unprecedented alliance and a brilliantly executed plan. With the shield generator destroyed, the Allied forces capitalized on the momentum, pushing deeper into Vargoth territory. Captain Jonas Hale surveyed the battlefield from a ridge, the digital map in his hand updating in real time with troop movements and engagement results. "Maya, how are the eastern flanks holding up?" Jonas asked, his voice calm despite the chaos unfolding below. Lieutenant Maya Soren, her eyes locked on her tablet, responded, "Zalorian and Iridian forces are making good progress. We've pushed the Vargoths back by another 6 kilometers. Their resistance is weakening, but they're regrouping near the central command center." Jonas nodded, analyzing the strategic layout. "That's their last stronghold. If we take that, we break their command structure." He then keyed his communicator. "All units, concentrate your fire on grid sector 9. That's the heart of the beast. We take that, and this battle is ours." As the order was relayed, a concerted roar of artillery and energy weapons filled the air, the sound punctuated by the deeper booms of Zalorian underwater explosives. The ground trembled under the might of the Iridian heavy assault units as they advanced. Governor Elaine Maris, observing the assault from the command post, felt a mixture of awe and fear. "Jonas, when this is over, what then? The Vargoths have other colonies, other ships. Won't they just come back?" Jonas turned to her, his eyes steely. "They might try, Governor, but after today, they'll know what it costs to attack us. We'll be ready to negotiate from a position of strength. Plus, we have new allies." He gestured towards the representatives of the Zalorians and Iridians, who were coordinating their troops. The final assault on the Vargoth command center was a spectacle of strategic prowess and raw power. Jonas led a squad of shadow mercenaries, each member expertly navigating through the chaos. They breached the command center defenses, using a combination of stealth tactics and brute force. Inside the command center, Jonas confronted the Vargoth commander, a towering figure clad in battle armor. "This ends now," Jonas declared, his weapon trained on the alien commander. "Surrender, and we'll spare your troops. Continue, and this is your grave." The Vargoth commander, realizing the futility of further resistance, dropped his weapon. "We yield," he growled, his voice a rumble of defeat. "I will order the retreat." As the Vargoth forces began their withdrawal, cheers erupted among the human and allied troops. Jonas watched as his team embraced each other, relief and victory clear on their faces. Maya joined Jonas, looking out over the liberated fields. "We did it, Jonas. We actually did it." Jonas nodded, allowing himself a moment of satisfaction. We did, thanks to everyone's efforts. But keep your guard up until they're completely off-planet. With the battle won, the Allied forces began the process of securing the area and tending to the wounded. Jonas and Elaine began discussing the terms of the Vargoth's surrender and the future security measures for New Terra. As the sun set on what was once a battlefield, it now marked a new beginning for New Terra and its people. The Vargoth threat was neutralized, not just by military might, but by the unity of once disparate allies brought together by necessity and forged in battle. In the aftermath of their victory at the Vargoth Command Center, the Allied forces remained vigilant. Captain Jonas Hale, never one to underestimate an enemy, especially one as cunning as the Vargoths, convened a meeting with his top lieutenants and Allied leaders to discuss securing the planet and the potential for any lingering threats. We've won a significant battle, but we need to be prepared for any counterstrikes or guerrilla tactics from remaining Vargoth forces. Jonas addressed the group gathered in the war room. Lieutenant Maya Soren, now acting as his second-in-command, nodded in agreement. Intel suggests there might be small pockets of Vargoth soldiers who've gone into hiding, Maya reported, displaying a map with potential hotspots. They could be regrouping for a smaller, yet still dangerous counterattack. Jonas's gaze hardened as he studied the map. We'll dispatch scout teams to these areas immediately. I want them swept and cleared within 24 hours. Maya, coordinate with the Zolorians and Iridians on this. Their unique abilities will be vital in flushing out any stragglers. As the teams were deployed, Governor Elaine Maris approached Jonas with a look of concern. What happens if they try to retaliate, Jonas? Should we be negotiating with their leaders for a formal surrender? Jonas considered her question carefully. Governor, our position is strong, but we need a guarantee. I'll contact the Vargoth High Command directly. It's time we brought this to a definitive end. With the decision made, Jonas initiated a secure communication to the Vargoth High Command. The screen flickered to life, showing a grizzled Vargoth general with a stern expression. General Kavar, this is Captain Jonas Hale. Your forces have been defeated on New Terra. It's over. We can end this with honor and minimal further bloodshed, Jonas spoke firmly, his tone leaving no room for ambiguity. General Kavar's eyes narrowed, a mix of anger and resignation evident in his posture. Captain Hale, you fought well. We underestimated your resolve and your alliances. What are your terms? We demand a full withdrawal of all Vargoth forces from New Terra and its orbit. Any further aggression will be met with immediate and overwhelming response. Jonas outlined the terms, his voice unwavering. After a tense pause, General Kavar nodded slowly. Agreed. We will begin withdrawals at once. But know this, Captain Hale, the galaxy is a vast place. Our paths may cross again. Jonas replied, If they do, General, let it be under different circumstances. The communication ended, and a heavy silence filled the room. Elaine sighed with relief. Thank you, Jonas. You've not only saved New Terra, but potentially started a new chapter in interstellar diplomacy. With the threat diminishing, Jonas and his allies began the process of demilitarization, ensuring that any remaining Vargoth technology was secured and that the planet's defenses were bolstered against future incursions. As peace slowly returned to New Terra, the once shadowy figure of Captain Jonas Hale emerged as a symbol of a new era of cooperation and strength among the stars. He looked out over the planet he had helped save, feeling a rare sense of contentment, yet ever vigilant for the safety of his team and the innocence they had sworn to protect. As the first light of dawn touched the ravaged landscapes of New Terra, Captain Jonas Hale stood with Governor Elaine Maris and the assembled leaders of the Zolorian and Iridian forces. They gathered at the newly established Peace Monument, a symbol of unity and resilience constructed at the site where the Vargoth shield generator once stood. Today, we not only celebrate our victory, but also the promise of a peaceful future. Governor Maris addressed the crowd, her voice echoing with emotion and gratitude. Thanks to the bravery of the Shadow Mercenaries and our new allies, New Terra will no longer be a place of conflict, but a beacon of collaboration. Jonas, standing slightly off to the side, watched the faces of those gathered. Soldiers, diplomats, and citizens from different worlds mingled, sharing stories and hopes. His gaze met Lieutenant Maya Soren's, and they shared a nod of mutual respect and relief. As the formalities concluded, Jonas approached the podium. He wasn't one for speeches, but today felt different. When we were called to New Terra, we came to fight a battle, he began, his voice steady and clear. But we achieved something greater. We built bridges. Bridges between races that once looked only to their own interests. Today, we stand united, not just in victory, but in purpose. The crowd responded with a resounding cheer, the sound carrying across the plains beyond. After the ceremony, as the crowd dispersed, Jonas and Maya walked towards the outskirts of the assembly area. "What's next for us, Captain?" Maya asked, her tone mixed with curiosity and fatigue. Jonas looked out towards the horizon, where the sky met the rugged terrain of New Terra. "We continue our work. There are other worlds, other people who need help. But for now, we help New Terra rebuild, ensure their defenses are solid and their people safe." "And the Alliance?" Maya probed further, glancing back at the representatives of the Zalorians and Iridians still mingling with the human population. "It holds as long as there's mutual respect and common goals. We'll stay on as envoys, ensure this peace lasts," Jonas replied, his gaze thoughtful, already anticipating the challenges ahead. In the following weeks, the Shadow Mercenaries transitioned from combatants to peacekeepers and trainers. Jonas worked closely with the New Terran Defense Forces, teaching them advanced tactics and helping integrate technologies from their alien allies. One evening, as the sun set, casting long shadows over the training grounds, Governor Maris joined Jonas, watching the new recruits practice. "They're strong," she commented, a note of pride in her voice. "They are," Jonas agreed. "They're the future of New Terra, and maybe, just maybe, they'll be the example this galaxy needs." As they turned to leave, Jonas took one last look at the bustling training field, his mind at ease for the first time in what felt like forever. New Terra was safe, its people united, and the Shadow Mercenaries, once a band of warriors shrouded in mystery, had illuminated a path toward a hopeful future. The sun dipped below the horizon, and Jonas Hale, a soldier forged in countless battles, felt a rare peace. For him and his team, New Terra was not just another contract. It was a testament to their unwavering commitment to safeguarding the vulnerables and forging alliances that could withstand the test of time.